six cops for fun. Jake, he thought it was the best there was. He's down the interstate he saw, till the day he tangled with the county sheriff, who they all call 104. It was late on a Thursday evening, and Jake, he was feeling kind of mean, cause he just run out of his favorite drug, you know, the one called amphetamine. So we started up to Petula, and he said, say, baby, let's split. There's a little gas station on down the road that might be fun to hit. So they drove up to the station, and they both jumped off of Jake's ride. They were up to derision at Jake's decision as they both saw to the inside. The attendant, he was an old man, and you know he didn't think it very funny. When Petula pulled out that great big gun, said, honey, give me all your money. Well, the old man opened up the cash drawer, and Jake grabbed the money and ran. With Petula out the door to the big chop parlor that was parked on the center kickstand. Then they headed out for the 4-lane, and they thought it was lots of fun. With Jake on his hog, with Petula the dog, with the automatic 45 gun. He thought it was the best there was, just down the interstate he saw, till the day he tangled with the county sheriff, who they all call 104. Didn't think it very humorous, and you know he didn't like to get sassed.
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark with our host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. Well, we're down to the last half an hour of this show. Now, every day I update the website. I'm really motivated. And, James, who's our guest tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow night it's going to be Joe Taylor, and he's going to be talking Mothman, cryptids, dinosaur sightings, and all kind of fun stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. And actually, he's out on tour. I talked to him on the phone today. He called me. He was thinking he was on today. And I said, no, Joe, you're on tomorrow. But I'll tell you what, the listeners love him because he's so knowledgeable in, you know, like Mothman, Bigfoot, dinosaurs, bones, where they found strange bones of humanoids that were giants, all that stuff.
Yeah, and every time he's on, we've always learned something new, and he always learns something new from us, maybe different sightings we had, but it's very exciting, and I look forward to having him on.
Now, getting back to the flat Earth, the moon, you know, Mars, Venus, and something you also said about dreams. That's not true. Whatever scientist has come up and said about your dreams and stuff like that doesn't know me, because when I was in high school, there was like 2 girls in high school I had the deepest crush in the world on. Not at the same time, because I'm not greedy. But, I mean, I would have dreams at night, you know, like they fell madly in love with me. And I could see their eyes, the color of their eyes, you know, everything. So, I mean, I dreamed of people that I met and saw or was infatuated. Haven't you?
Oh, yeah, but what it said was if you have dreams and you don't see any faces, those are probably ghosts, is what it said.
Well, how many people have dreams of people and don't have faces in them? That sounds like that sounds like they have emotional problem.
Yeah, I've never had those dreams yet, but now that you said that, I don't think I'd admit it anyway.
Well, would you want to admit it? Oh, I have dreams of, well, people walking, but they have no heads.
No face.
No
face.
Nothing. Well, you know, my kids they're adults, but you know what they bought me? All these zombie movies. I mean, I have the whole series of every zombie movie that has been made. And I tell you
Wow.
what, I started today. I watched like 2 of them. And I even, in one of them, it even gives a bonus disc at how they made the movie, how they, they had like, when they show these groups of people like in the parking lot, the tours of the zombies, like the first zombies group and the zombies, the camera, gets a close-up view, they're in full-fledged makeup. And then the next batch behind them, not so much. Then the third batch going back maybe only has a rubber mask on. And then the next ones only have makeup on, and then there's other ones that has nothing on, no makeup or nothing, because, the camera doesn't zoom in on them. It just zooms in, on bodies.
Wow. Yeah, as far as zombie movies go, I like there's 2 kinds of zombies. The ones with the what do they call it, some kind of disease or something, or virus. I like the ones that are the voodoo ones, like the ones where Koshak had to fill the mouth up with salt and sew his lips up. Those are the ones I like.
Yeah, but that's not the same type of zombies. Those zombies, those type of zombies, a lot of them, they were walking alive zombies. They weren't actually dead. If you
That's
go
true,
into
too.
they were given medicine. They went to sleep. They were buried, and then they were brought up, and then they were under mind control.
Yeah. They used the poison from the pufferfish, I believe.
Oh, I wonder if I should get some. No, anyway, but it just makes you, when you get into those, it just is interesting. I like those type. I saw one here, my first one I watched today. It showed how the zombies originated. In a cave, the military stashed all these drums of toxic chemicals.
Oh, yeah.
And what happened is they started leaking, and it leaked into, like a creek. And then it got into the groundwater. Then people were drinking it. And that's how it originally started.
Yep. I seen it. That's good. They remade that a couple times, but that was a good one, actually.
Oh, yeah. So I'm into that type of stuff. Now, going to the moon and stuff like that. Well, if we're in a box and then the moon is just kind of a fake thing in the box, I don't know. Because then, there's people that have a theory that the moon is nothing more than a hollow sphere, or it's a spaceship, or, a humanoid-made, planet.
Right. And the thing is, if they're just lights on a ceiling, how high is the ceiling? Because it supposedly takes almost 8 minutes, 7.5 minutes, 8 minutes just for the light from the sun to reach us.
Yeah, I don't know. See, again, the flat Earth, I wanted him on because he had his right to, express his views.
Oh,
now,
right.
I didn't pick a fight with him or anything. I let him say what he had to say. Myself, I don't believe it. I just can't, because it doesn't make logical sense to me, because, again, you can sit there and look at ships and keep zooming in and keep, zooming in till you can't magnify it anymore. But I've been in an aircraft high enough where I could see part of the curvature of the Earth. And you trying to tell me that my mind is making that up? I don't think so.
Well, also, what about the lunar eclipse? And that's when the Earth is, I believe, between the moon and the sun, and you get the shadow of one of, you know what I'm trying to say? How would you explain that one on a flat Earth?
Well, it's simple. They're globes in a big building, and they do it to keep us confused. They just kind of bring the two lights together. I don't know, James. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a talk show host.
Well, how about this? How about the water on the northern hemisphere goes down the drain clockwise, or in the southern or in the northern hemisphere? In the southern hemisphere, it goes counterclockwise. So if it was flat, how do you explain that phenomenon?
Well, I didn't ask him that. You should have jumped in there and asked him that. I would like to hear what the answer is. I don't know. In other words, we're a huge building that's 20,000 miles long or 200,000 miles long or whatever, 100,000 miles high. In that case, then whatever built it had to be huge.
Well, yeah, and not only that, what about the 4,175 satellites that are in orbit at this present time around the Earth?
They're not. It's the figment of your imagination.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then now that's where it gets back into, are we a computer civilization? We're fake. We're on a metrics. We're on a computer chip. We're on whatever, and somebody, some alien is running us as homework.
Well, that brings me to my next theory. Are we nothing more than a science project of a third grader's sons of aliens who, he's done with the project, and we've been sitting in their attic for the last 7 years while he's in junior high and waiting for him to throw us out to the garbage?
Why would you have to say that? But, when I was a kid, when I was little, like 5, 6 years old, my mom had a terrarium, or how you pronounce it, and it was sealed up. The whole point, it functioned as a complete, living for plants and all this stuff, as long as you didn't open it up.
Right.
It had its own ecosystem.
Yep.
Maybe that's what we are.
That you know what that could be. If that's the case, would still probably be a globe or half a globe or something, because there's still got to be some kind of visible force. And now he does have one good point that is hard to explain, and that's that vacuum system, because he's right. If you take a can and put it in a vacuum, it's going to collapse it. Whatever you put in there is going to collapse it. So he does have a valid point that is very hard to explain about the spacesuits or anything in a vacuum. How does it keep from imploding?
Well, take a submarine and go down deeper than it was designed for. What's it do?
Yeah, it's going to crush. They call it crush death. It's going to implode.
Yeah, it implodes. And it's not a fun thing. So I don't know. It makes me wonder again. I don't know. The whole point is, if you call up NASA and say, "Can you send me a video clip of the Earth rotating?" and they sit there and tell you, "We don't have anything like that." I don't buy that, because I've seen live feeds from the space station showing the Earth.
And you can go online now and watch them.
And you can see the Earth slowly rotating.
Yeah. And you're exactly right. And what about, we had projects in the late 40s, as you mentioned some proof, but here's some proof that he was asking for. We had projects with weather balloons that went up 100,000 miles and further, and they had cameras on there which filmed, and that was before I think they were into, trying to fool people that were in a round Earth. I think it was legit, you know what I mean? I don't think it was up there for the purpose to fool the American people. I think it was legitly to experiment with the atmosphere and seeing what's up there.
Yeah, well, it wasn't hundreds of thousands or hundreds of miles up, because you can't go hundreds of miles up.
Or I meant feet, 100,000 feet.
Yeah. And after that, what happens is the balloons do what everything else does. They burst. Yeah.
I tell you, the only thing he really brought up that is very, very hard to explain is the vacuum theory, because if space is one giant vacuum, that's a vacuum that is tremendous. Like, seriously, anything out in it should implode, really.
Well, but I'm not a scientist, okay? I didn't do that great in science in school. I'll admit that. And when I went to school, that was back, in the late 60s. But I can honestly tell you this. What does keep our atmosphere from escaping out? What keeps our oxygen and all this stuff from leaving the planet?
Supposedly it's part of the I don't know, the different zones up there. One of them supposed to, it keeps it together or something. Supposedly, I don't know. I'm not a very good scientist either. I do know that the Apollo 11 that went to the moon is 2.5 inches thick, and that protective supposedly through the Van Allen belt, through a 500,000-mile round trip, through radiation and in the vacuum. And that's another thing I knew with